If you are building a console application in .NET and you want to let the user control the application from the command line, you might have a hard time, at least if you want to provide a lot of different commands and options. Parsing the arguments can be a real challenge. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Or rather, Oakton has got you covered. This is an open source library for .NET designed to handle command line arguments. Let's take a look at it in this video. Let's try this in the sample project I prepared, which contains an empty console project. I have already installed Oakton via NuGet. Oakton works with commands, so you create a command for each specific task you want to provide through your command line application. So let's create a new command. I'll call it create user command, because the purpose of this command will be to create a new user with a name and an email address. Before we implement the actual command, we will create another class called user, which will contain properties for email, name, and a boolean indicating whether the user is an admin or not. This class contains the options and values we want to get from the command line arguments. Let's also add some attributes for the properties. First, each property gets a description that explains its purpose to the user. In addition, the admin flag property is given the flag alias so that this flag can be specified via either --admin or -a in the console. Okay, now we can implement the command. The createUser command class must be derived from the Oakton command class, and here we need to specify the user class we just created. After automatically creating the implementation, we have this execute method that takes a user object as a parameter. As an example implementation, let's just quickly create a nice string, something like this, which will then be written to the console, and after that will return true because everything was okay. To make it a bit more interesting, let's add an if statement here at the beginning of the method where we just check the name of the user to be created. If it is Billy, write a message to the console that the user already exists and return false. We're almost done. Let's just add the description attribute to the command class, just like we did with the properties in the user class before, in addition to specifying a name for the command. Now we should be ready to try this. Let's go to program class. Here we just need to add a few lines. First, we need an executor, which is created like this. This line here is responsible for registering all the commands that exist in the assembly. And after that, we just have to call the execute method on the executor, specifying the command line arguments. And that's it. Let's run this application. We have two options here. If we start the debugger, we have to specify the command line arguments in the debug properties. Another way is to run the project with .NET Run in the terminal, and this is what I'm going to do. So I just say .NET Run -- create user, which is the name of the command, an email address, and a username. And this is the output, so we see that the command was executed correctly. Let's try it with Billy, which is not allowed. And let's put -a at the end, which will make the user an admin. Great, easy to implement and makes your life so much easier. What you can also do is specify different usages for the command that you allow. So in the constructor, let's say we want to specify either the email address and the name, or just the email address. And in both cases, we can specify a description text to give a detailed explanation to the user. So when we try that, we see that we can specify both the email address and the username, or just the email address. Both are allowed. If we enter something wrong, then we get the description of how to use the command correctly. If you need to run async code in your command, this is also possible. In that case, your class must be derived from the Oakton async command class. Well, that's it for this brief introduction to Oakton for parsing command line arguments. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments. If you're interested in JSON parsing in .NET, I made a video where I did a performance comparison between Newtonsoft JSON versus System Text JSON. Feel free to watch this video next. Thanks for watching. Bye.